It's California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Jose Solorio. He was a member of the California State Assembly from 2006 to 12. He is now a member of a community college district in North Orange County. Also a nominee for the California State Senate in a new seat that I guess essentially right now is occupied by Lou Correa. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
New lines, but essentially it's that seat. So, Mr. Nominee, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
In Long Beach. The
glad to have
entire
you.
Long Beach Cal State campus is in the 34th Senate District. So I look forward to representing you
Fair enough.
Your charter system here and all the students.
So talk to us about yourself. I mean, you obviously have a nice history in elected politics, in the assembly. Now you're a community college district member. Tell us about the last 6-8 years.
Sure. Well, you know, I have one of those great, California dream stories. I was born in Mexico.
Oh, you were.
Came here as an infant.
Really?
My parents were farm workers. I worked in the farms myself.
You're kidding.
Realized I didn't want to work in the farms all my life, so I stuck to the books. Went to UC Irvine for undergraduate school. Got a master's degree from Harvard University. In public policy.
Just Harvard.
I figured if I'm going to
Exactly.
get a master's, do it well, work hard.
Right.
Came back to Orange County. I was on the Santa Ana City Council. Did marketing and public affairs many years, and did my state assembly work as well. And now in the college district, I also run a small business doing marketing and public affairs, helping small businesses.
But let me ask you, why does public service speak to you? I mean, obviously, bright guy, UCI, Harvard, you're making a lot of money, doing something else. But what is it about public service that speaks to you?
Well, I think when I worked in the farms, I learned about Cesar Chavez. I met him during one of his last strikes. And you realize that one person can make a difference. And you realize that if you really want to impact the lives of others, doing it through public service, through public policy is a good way to do it. At UC Irvine, I was student body president last year. That got me my first taste of coalition building and helping students, helping people address their problems. And I do that now in Central Orange County and hope to do it in Long Beach as well.
I have to ask you, it's slightly off topic, but given that you were born in Mexico, I guess you're not a dreamer technically, because I presume you're a citizen. You're a member of the legislature, but you know dreamers. I mean, you know the plight of dreamers. I mean, you could have been one.
Right.
How are you feeling right now about what's happening with dreamers, with what's going on at the border? I mean, it's not a lot of Mexicans, but Central Americans, kids that are coming by themselves to the border. It's just devastating.
Well, I think what frustrates me and most Americans is just that we have a federal government that does not do its job. I mean, clearly we have to secure our border. Clearly we need very comprehensive immigration reform, and we also need to not divide families. So there's some basic things that everybody knows needs to be fixed, but we have this gridlock in Washington that just won't quit. And I think here in Sacramento, we've been able to get things done.
It is interesting you mentioned that, because I've had the honor of interviewing members of Congress in Washington. I frequently go to Sacramento, interview members of the legislature, and Sacramento, there's some partisan divides, but it works. I mean, bills make it out, and Democrats and Republicans, they are okay with each other. They go to dinner with each other. They attend each other's events. And, in DC, not so much. Not so much at all. One example of a bill that seems to be getting bipartisan support, I wanted to ask you about it because you're currently on the Community College Board in Central Orange County, is a bill by Senator Marty Block of San Diego that would allow some community colleges, 15 specifically, to participate in a pilot program to grant 4-year bachelors. That's a change. So what do you think about the bill?
Well, I think, key to our economy in California is our system of higher education. And the reality is there aren't enough spots at the CSU, the UC, community colleges. We have a lot of them. And so as we are trying to get more of our students to get BA degrees, I think it is innovative thinking to figure out what type of bachelors can be given at the community colleges that won't compete with those at the UC or the CSU level. So I think it's a good way to start. And I know at our college district for Santa Ana College and Santiago Canyon College, we've discussed about what those type of majors might be. And so we're excited about having those conversations.
And so what are you thinking? Because like you said, the bill as written as we speak, there can be no duplicative major with any UC or any CSU in the entire state, not just regionally. So if it's not as if you can just look at UCI or Cal State Fullerton and say, well, if they have that, we can't. Even up at CSU Humboldt, if they have that major, community college can't have it.
Right.
So what are you thinking?
So let me give you a couple examples that I remember top of mind. One is we have an outstanding welding program at Santa Ana College.
There you have it. Yeah.
And you have one student who's going to go to summer school in the Midwest because there's no BA in the entire state of California in the area. So there are areas in the area of welding and the engineering and the science of that, also in water science. And that gets to the water drought and how we need to be innovative in California.
Can we talk about that?
We have water technicians. We have certain things that aren't covered regionally that could be covered, for example, through our campus at Santiago Canyon College in Orange that does a lot of water stuff.
Can we talk about water?
Yes.
What a tough time it is for the state of California. Although, interestingly, you know this well, Southern California has been doing better during the drought than Northern California, in large part because of management decisions over the last 10 years. And I recently spoke with Don Wagner, a member of the California State Assembly, and he mentioned that the Orange County Basin is doing pretty well, the groundwater basin. But still, these are tough times for Orange County, for LA County, for the entire state. What are you seeing on the ground? How are your constituents doing in the wake of this drought? It can get hot in Orange County. It can get really hot, inland especially.
Well, first, I think in Southern California, we do deserve a pat on the back. Believe it or not, we actually use about the same amount of water now that we did in the 1980s. So we've done a lot over the years through our codes, through conservation efforts. We need to do more. During this drought, I think Caltrans has done a great job reminding us on our freeway that we're in a serious drought.
Those signs.
So I think people, they're turning off their sprinklers. I see a lot of public and private entities where they're not watering their lawns. I think people are trying to think inside the house, do they have a leaky toilet, a leaky faucet? I think people are making a lot of home improvements. In my own home, I went to sprinklers that have heavier drops so that there isn't as much evaporation. So I think people are doing what they can, and we just need to keep that innovation going because we need that.
I want to ask you about the water bond. You were in the Assembly in 2009 when an $11 billion water bond was passed. It was part of a great negotiation, Democrats, Republicans, North, South, East, West. But for reasons that we can go into at another time, it was determined that water bond was too large. And so through tremendous negotiation, the governor, the Democrats, the Republicans, in an example of bipartisanship, one could say, have put together a water bond, about $7.5 billion that will be on the ballot in November. What do you make of the new water bond?
Well, I was in Sacramento, was on the conference committee.
Oh, so you know specifically.
That helped negotiate the water bond and some related bills.
So you're upset that your water bond is no longer?
Well, no, because the key elements are there, and I've always thought, I like to talk about water, about the 3 C's. We got to do a better job conserving, conveying the water, as well as capturing the water. And that's a big area. That gets to be a controversial area, but every now and then it does rain in California. We don't do a good job of capturing that water.
It's interesting you mentioned that because to your friends in the Republican Party, there was no doubt that storage was critical.
Correct.
They really wanted to see significant dollars for storage. 10, 20 years ago, Democrats wouldn't even consider storage. I mean, that was the dams was the damn word. But now there is a sense that we do have a storage crisis and almost $3 billion set aside for storage.
Yeah, and we try to also be neutral in that it could be above ground or below ground.
The bond says it,
or below ground. And in Orange County, we do a great job with our groundwater basin. I was on that water district.
Oh, I didn't know
we get
that.
about 2/3 of all our water in Central Orange County from our groundwater basin.
Wow.
We manage it well, we maintain it well, and it's economical and it's environmental.
And there is a move to regulate groundwater for the first time in California. You may have to look at that issue. It may not pass in time for this session. So what do you think generally about groundwater regulation?
Well, in Orange County, we manage our groundwater well. I've seen in other parts of the state where folks take water out of the ground, they never replace it. There's great environmental damage being done, and we definitely got to look at that.
He is Jose Solorio, a nominee for the California State Senate in a district spanning LA and Orange County. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's California Edition.